Hi, I'm Adam,
This is Kevin.
and we are Tech Guys Who Invest. This is the place for business people and investors to learn all about investing. We offer a fresh perspective on what it's like to have a day job while investing, and we share lessons learned on our investing journey. Our vision is to educate and entertain you while adding tons of value to your daily commute. Welcome to our show.
All right, listeners, welcome back to another episode of the Tech Guys Who Invest podcast. But before we dive into the introduction, I want to remind all of you of the free ebook that Adam and I released just for you. It contains decades of investing intelligence, and it's consolidated into a nice little readable package that you can pop open at any point in time in your investment journey and add value to yourself by maximizing your profits while reducing your risk. If you want your free copy, all you have to do is go to ebook.tgwipodcast.com. And when you subscribe and download your ebook, you will automatically be input into the TGWI Insiders community. Now, this community is an additional value add for our listeners. We want to be able to share candid conversations about assets we're looking at, articles we're reading, any way that we can add additional value to you outside of the weekly podcast. You will get that nice little morsel of knowledge for you that you can apply into your investing journey. Again, that's ebook.tgwipodcast.com. All right, let's dive into the introduction. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Tech Guys Who Invest podcast, where each week we teach you how to invest wisely and safely. On top of teaching you how to invest wisely and safely through analysis of deals, what other investors are doing, and how you can apply their strategies into your everyday life and your investing portfolio, we want to share what's happening during our investment journey. We want to share the new chapters. We want to share the ups, the downs, the successes, the failures, ultimately because we want to help educate you on the entire process. For these specific episodes or any episodes that you hear on the podcast, feel free to reach out to us. We love conversing. We love helping any way that we can. The best way to reach us is techguyswhoinvest@gmail.com. And on this specific episode, we are sharing a new update in Adam's investment journey. So I'm happy and proud as a co-host and friend and business partner to share his investment journey with all of you. He is more specifically joining Dreamstone Investments as head of investor relations. And I'll let him in the episode talk more about that. So without further ado, here is Adam's big update as he joins Dreamstone Investments.
Awesome. So, you know how we like to talk about kind of sharing our journey out of the rat race in this podcast.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's kind of one of the unique aspects of this show that we're sort of, it's almost like documenting our journey
Right.
along the way. You know, what does it feel like for a real person who is in a job and learns about this way to create freedom through investing, and what does it actually look like as they escape? So today I just took a major step forward.
You out of the rat race?
I'm super excited. Well, I took a step towards getting out of the rat race. I'm lining up at the starting line there, and
Fantastic.
yeah, getting ready to sprint.
Okay,
So,
now I have to ask what more details about how this is going and what you mean by you're at the starting line.
Okay. All right. Awesome. So part of my strategy to get out, as you know, is invest in multifamily apartments.
Sure.
And I've already had some acceleration, right? Like I got a couple of deals done by partnering with a team. And I think that's what it's all about, is really partnering with a good team and people who can kind of help each other, especially with these bigger deals. You can't do it at all.
Absolutely, you can't.
So
Impossible.
I found a great team, right? I really like Nick and Viano, and Viano's just got this amazing vision. He really does have quite an inspirational vision, and he's quite a leader. And Nick's just a really solid guy who also shares the values that Viano has. And so those two are an awesome team. I work really well with those guys also. But at some point, just bringing capital into the deal and adding value through just helping with tasks and things like that has its limitations. And that long term would not be enough for me to exit the rat race. So
Okay.
my options would be either, do basically what they did, I mean, take control of a large deal and be the primary partner on that, where it's mostly mine, but I'm kind of building a team around it and others get a cut of the
Yeah.
partnership, right? Um, or to kind of align myself with a group like theirs and become a stronger partner and grow that bigger and bigger. So I've been talking to them about the latter, about, me becoming more of an official partner with them and working with them as their business grows, because their business is accelerating quickly and I would love to be part of it. So we just had a really great call. They want to bring me on board.
Nice.
So I'm joining their team, and I'm joining as the head of investor relations. So like I couldn't be happier about it because
That's
I'm
awesome, man.
yeah, thanks, man. Thank you. I'm super excited. So as you know, Kevin, I'm a people guy, and a lot of what I do at work, the people who work with me know, is around, relationships, building teams and helping people align and work more effectively together. So I'm going to be doing a lot of that as the head of relations. And so that falls right into my wheelhouse. They really need it because they're growing quickly. Viano's very good at analyzing deals, and as a professional accountant, that's right in
Right.
his wheelhouse. All that he's got it handled. Nick is awesome at the operations and the management of all of the operations, as well as the things associated with um, construction projects and all of that. So he's got that handled. And kind of the third piece to the puzzle there is the marketing and the communications and the investor
Sure.
relations piece of it.
Right.
And so that's where I fit in.
So what would that look like in your shoes? What would be an example of a task that fits as part of investor relations?
So part of it will be making sure that the Dreamstone Investments brand is strong, well known, credible, is very well understood. It's clarified. When people hear Dreamstone Investments, they know what that means. So we'll be doing some brand identification and
Okay.
clarification, marketing that. Um, Things like social media presence, posts, some marketing type activities like that. So a lot of that kind of stuff, as well as communications with investors who are in investments and deals with us, making sure that they're staying up to date on progress, profits, and things like that, so that we're communicating very regularly with our investors who are already in deals with us.
Oh, that's good. That's important. You can't just have the investors sit there and wondering, hey guys, what's happening? Right. And I think you need to have somebody that's going to take that responsibility. And that's awesome that you have that responsibility. And I know that you love communicating with people.
Yeah, I do. And so to step out of that a little bit and back to what we were talking about as far as steps along the journey, I feel like this is a big step for me along the journey because it helps get me closer to, being with a team that is going to be getting more deals done, getting
Hmm.
more of these larger apartment deals closed. And then of course that's gonna generate the revenue for me personally as well as the investors. And that's a step towards exiting.
That's fantastic. Yeah, because you are making bigger moves, you can do bigger deals, which means you will reap a greater cash flow. And as we all know, like the cash flow game teaches us, once your passive income is greater than your expenses, you're now part of the fast track out of the rat race.
Absolutely. I think about that little rat going around the board all the time.
So I want to take a step back, and for our listeners, I want to figure out how we can help educate them on how they can apply this to their investing journey. Not to discount the
I love it.
fantastic news that you're presenting, but ultimately
No,
we want to help apply it to their lives too.
exactly. So yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking about as well. What would this look like? And uh, so I'll just share what you could do that I did. Um,
Absolutely.
I it started out by really networking and going to events in my local area where I was likely to meet people who either shared some similar goals or were already making it happen maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to some real estate meetups and things like that, and was really just putting myself out there, meeting people. I had some cheap little business cards. It doesn't even matter what they look like, really. I mean, my first ones were horrible. So just get 100 printed super fast with your contact info that just says like investor,
Right.
um, get out there and meet people, tell them what you want to do, tell them what you're trying to do. And that's how I met Nick. So that's kind of step one. And then as we move forward, try to add value, do things that will make yourself valuable to them. So we got into the first deal together. I brought capital into the deal. And in addition to that, I was adding value in other ways by just picking up tasks and doing some things. And one of the things I'm good at is organizing teams and helping optimize the flow of work through teams. I do that during my day job. So I started doing some of that with those guys. And I introduced them to a tool, Slack, and said, "Hey guys, we could use this to collaborate." They loved that. I mean, the whole team loved that. None of them were using it. And they're like,
I
"Oh
love
my,"
it.
well, maybe one or two of them were using it actually. But they weren't using it in this way and the team wasn't using it. So, oh, it's awesome, right?
That's
So
fantastic.
just little things like that. I was just trying to add value. So that's what you can do. Try to add value in ways that are good to you, like that you know of. Maybe you're good at doing some analysis.
Right.
Well, guys like me are actually not very good at that. So we really appreciate that. So you can run some numbers and say, "Hey, this is what I found." Make it really easy for people like me who don't really like those to look at it. Or maybe you know someone who could help the team. Introduce them, bring them in, make connections. Anything you can think of that you're good at that you can use to add value is something you could do. And that's what I did. I just tried to do things I'm good at.
Okay. So there's a lot that you've said there. When you're talking about letting people know what it is you're trying to do, there's a sense of clarity. So you had to establish what it is that you wanted to do first, which always ties back to what your investor identity is. And then when you know what that is, or even have some semblance, because even if you figure out, I think I want to do this, you may figure out even more greater detail. You want to do this in this particular asset class. And that's okay. When you figure that out, you're letting people know this is what I can do. And then you're taking a step back and looking at what you do in your day job and figuring out how you can use that as a lever to help accelerate other people's progress. So that's fantastic. You took what you do normally. So I think a lot of people discount that. Like, what do I have to offer? You have something to offer. It's a matter of exploring your skill set. It's some way and figuring out, hey, can I do this? And you can't be afraid to say, step up to the plate and say, this is what I can help add value with. And you may be rejected and say, no, we got that covered. And then you can then pivot. As far as how this transpired, what was your internal narrative? Were you thinking, can I do this? Am I doing this right? Walk us through that.
When Kevin, when I was talking to them about joining the team, is that the context for the question?
Exactly. Like, oh,
Yep.
it sounds as if, oh, the door's there, but sometimes it's like, can I walk through this door? Is this the right door to walk through? How did you know
Right.
that these were going to be the right people to work with?
Okay, so that's good. So and that helps continue it forward to like the series of events that led to this. So we closed our first deal. I was adding value. It was clear we were working well together. And then when you're working with people you like to be around and with people that you think are good teammates, and I could see something special in these guys
Mm-hmm.
that I thought, wow, yeah, these are the kind of guys that I want to work with. They're high caliber, high integrity, good values, good people. So I wanted to continue that forward and got into the second deal with them and was using that as a way to continue to discover, hey, does this still feel right? Do I fit with them? Do they even need me? Is there something I can continue to add value with? And so I continued to do that. Continued to look for ways to add value to the team. And then fast forward a little bit further past that, when we got the deal closed, I think it was definitely obvious to me, and I think it was to them as well, that I felt like a pretty good fit with them. And so internally, I was thinking, how can I bring the conversation up in a way that doesn't feel like I'm trying to in any way um, take over or be out, like overstep
Right.
my bounds. I don't want to do that, right? I don't want to step on any toes. I don't want to overstep my bounds, but I want to share with these guys that I feel like there could be something here longer term, and I'd like to be part of their team. And so I just started to think about ways I could do that. And I came up with a little script for myself internally. And then I reached out to those guys and told them that I wanted to talk to them about it. And we hopped on the call. And then I was just pretty transparent about it. And apparently they had been thinking along the same lines, because the conversation was pretty easy as we were talking through it.
Yeah. Well, that's good. And you
Yeah.
joining a team amplifies your efforts, and it's trying to do everything is quite difficult. I'm definitely in that camp of trying to do it all. And it's not necessarily that I don't want to partner with anybody. It's just where I'm at right now. And it
Yeah.
does make it significantly more difficult to do everything on your own. Um, how does it feel being part of a team versus working by yourself?
I personally am a big team player. I enjoy working in a team, and I don't really enjoy working all by myself. So to me, it feels natural. It feels like I'm at home. And I always feel like I'm just better when I work with someone else. Like you and I doing this podcast, I feel like I'm 10 times better than I would be all by myself.
Same.
Um, yeah, I enjoy working with others. And so to me, that feels great. These guys are thinking big, and I love that, because it helps me to like make sure I'm stepping my game up and I'm
Right.
thinking big too. I mean, these guys are not thinking, hey, we want to do a couple hundred units over the course of a few years. They're thinking, I want to do 1,000 units in 2020.
I love it.
I mean, that they're thinking big, and they're thinking that they want to be very professional. They don't want to be mom and pop, and they want, to be thought of as the best in their class. And I love that stuff. So it forces me to be better and to want to do better to make them better.
Yeah. Being around the right type of people, like you said, doing the podcast, it helps hold us accountable, and you feed off of that energy. And I think that's just how
Yeah.
you and I are, where the
Right.
energy in the room, it's something that we can absorb and leverage to our advantage, where it's like, oh, there's high energy, there's a high expectation, then let's step up.
Now, if you're not that kind of person, that's okay, because what you bring to the table, it may be something different. And I really liked what you were saying earlier, Kevin, about find out what it is. I mean, bring whatever it is you have. It may be different than what I'm doing right now, or it may be different than what Kevin does, but try to figure out what it is you do bring and bring that, and that will be good.
Yeah, and there's something to be said about the chemistry that you feel when you work with these people. And it's okay that if it's off and the partnership isn't where it needs to be, because you can
Mhm.
also find more people. Uh, you shouldn't try to force something to work if you know really isn't working. There are plenty of opportunities out there to work with other team members. It's a huge space. Remember, think about abundance. There's always people trying to figure out how they can grow and how they can scale. And when you find those types of people, they will see that, oh, yeah, I can find a way to make my business stronger by adding this person. So it may take some time to figure out the right team member to join.
Yeah, and this is the path that I'm taking, and it's interesting. The path that unfolds is never what you think it will look like. And it would never be the same for any two people.
That is an important just thing to say also. This is your journey and it took this amount of time. And if you're on the other end listening to this, accept your journey. You don't try to compare it to others because it's just going to burn you out fast.
Yeah, it is interesting how much different it is than what I envisioned it would be. I remember listening to podcasts when I was first getting started, and I thought in my mind it would unfold a certain way. It's been nothing like that.
Well, what's been the biggest difference between what you expected and what the actual reality was?
Well, I expected that I would buy some kind of a 10, 12, 14 unit apartment, and then I would grow from there,
Yeah.
maybe get one a little bigger than that after. But it was because I just had trouble seeing where I am now. I couldn't see how that would happen. And so therefore it was just kind of hard for me to think about that being the case. But the way I look at this now is I'm a part of a team of guys who are going after big deals and really trying to grow, and they're fearlessly going after it. We've got an LOI out on over 200 units right now. And I think that's awesome. And I feel like we can handle it.
And for our
All by
listeners who don't
myself,
know,
I'd be terrified.
oh yeah, 200 units to go from 10 to 12 to 200. I
Right.
think that's just a small leap. Take a step back there for our listeners that may not know what LOI is and what that represents in the process of buying a multifamily. Can you
Right.
explain that?
Sure. Yeah. Letter of intent. And it is basically an offer.
Nice. And are
Yeah.
those
So
offers contingent? Not to digress, but since we're on it.
yeah. So it's an intent to purchase. And if that intent is accepted, then you would move forward into a legal purchase agreement.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. So what are the 3 things you're looking forward to when it comes to this new role for you?
Oh, 3 things. Okay. So one is to grow into the role with the team. I'm really looking forward. We've talked about this before. I'm a bit of a people pleaser. I really like it when people are happy with me.
Right. And that's okay.
Right.
It's just what it is.
It's just how I'm wired, So I I am looking forward to adding value to the team and being recognized, not in a spotlight on me kind of a way, but just as
Right.
a, hey, wow, yeah, I'm so glad Adam's with us. He's doing a great job, that kind of thing. So that's definitely a big one. Another big one is to escape the rat race. I really believe this is a key piece of me getting out of the rat race, or else I probably wouldn't do it. Right. I mean, I
Yeah, there you
really
go.
believe we're going big. So that's another one. And then a third one is to grow as a person. I think that this will certainly grow me professionally and also personally. So I'm really looking forward to see how that unfolds.
And that's all fantastic and great news. And I'm so happy that you are progressing on your journey. And I cannot wait to see how things will progress in a year from now when we do an update like this. Next thing you know, you're saying, hey, we're buying a whole city. And I can't wait to watch or be a part of it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I can't wait to see that as well. And it would be really cool to hear from some of our listeners about steps you've taken, some progress you've made, or things that you would like to do. Maybe some things you have your sights set on and you're not quite sure how to get there. Maybe Kevin and I can help you. If you'd like to talk to us, be sure to reach out to us at techguyswhoinvest@gmail.com.
Thanks, everybody.
That's it for this episode of Tech Guys Who Invest. This is Adam.
And this is Kevin. Thank you so much for listening to us. Don't forget to join our Facebook page where we're building a community of investors so that we can share ideas, tips, and other ways to help us get out of the rat race. If you found value in this podcast, it would mean the world to us if you could share it with your network. Lastly, we love feedback. It's how we get better. So if you wouldn't mind spending 30 seconds and leaving us an honest review on iTunes or Stitcher or whatever platform you're using, that would be super sweet. If you want to get on Adam or Kevin's calendar, go to tgwipodcast.com/contact. We want to help you invest safely, wisely, and ultimately get you out of the rat race. Thanks again.